I'm your host, William Beem. Welcome to the Photo Flunky Show, episode number 1. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between amateur and professional photographers. So if you're an amateur thinking about going pro, stick with us. Okay, welcome to the Photo Flunky Show. You can find us at photoflunky.com, which is part of my website, williambeem.com. That's B as in boy, EEM.com. Okay, this is a topic that comes up over and over again. Professionals versus amateurs. And it came up on Facebook recently in one of the groups that I follow. Someone went out there and asked the question, when can I call myself a professional? And as you can imagine, the opinions were all over the place. Some people think that you have to pass certain criteria. Some people think that you have to get a certification. Others just simply think that whenever you say you're a professional, you're a professional. And that's kind of where it gets to be a bit confusing for some folks. They don't really know if they're a professional or not. And really what it comes down to is people are seeking validation from others. They're saying, I need permission from you to call myself a professional. My opinion is you don't. You're a professional when you say you're a professional. But there's a little bit more to it than just that. So the other half of this coin is the word amateur. It seems almost derogatory from some people. If they're working as a professional photographer, they almost think like they lose some of their self-worth if they can't deride other people as, oh, well, you're just an amateur. Your photography is amateurish. I've seen photos from amateurs that rival and surpass that of some of the professionals I've seen. I've seen professional photographers that produce some astounding work. I don't think that your business model determines the quality of your photographs. Hopefully, if you're a professional photographer, you're turning out nice, great results. You certainly should be having enough experience moving from one client to the next or one project to the next that you're working on your game all the time. Whereas professionals, they may go out and shoot for a while. Amateurs, not professionals, may go out and shoot for a while, take some time off, go back and shoot for again. And they may not push themselves in challenging situations, but that's a maybe. We see some amateurs that go out there and do extraordinary creative things because they are pushing themselves. They're doing it for the desire, not because it's their job and I've got to go out there and kind of drudge through it. So really, is there a difference? In my mind, it doesn't matter. It's a matter of what is your job? What is your passion? If you can put the two of those together, some people say that's nice. Other people think that it's going to take all the passion out of you because there's more to being a professional photographer than just being a photographer. And here's my opinion of what it means to be a professional. First, can you run a profitable business? Photography is going to be a smaller percentage of running a business than the other aspects of going out, marketing yourself, finding clients. Another aspect of it is, can you provide good customer service? If you're going to hire a photographer, as well as any other kind of service provider, the first thing that you want from them is customer service. You want competence. You want them to be understanding. You want them to explain things to you that maybe you hadn't considered before. This doesn't matter whether you're going into the business as a wedding photographer, a commercial photographer, or even someone who's just doing portraits on part-time basis. You're looking for someone who can not only get the job done, but they can follow up with you or you can follow up with them for any customer service issues you've got. If they can't provide customer service, they're not going to be a professional photographer for very long. And finally, and this is not to be underestimated, is, are you insured for your work? Do you have general liability insurance and do you have workman's comp? I won't let anybody into my house to do work if they don't have both of those. And I would expect that the same is true for a professional photographer. If you're going to go to somebody else's site, you need to have the minimum requirement of having general liability and workman's comp insurance in case you damage their property or in case something happens to you if there's some kind of injury. Usually photography isn't that dangerous, but you never know. A C-stand falls over, it hits somebody's cat, it jumps up and pulls down the curtains, it falls in a toaster and starts a fire. Sounds like a Rube Goldberg scenario, but the idea is when you walk into a site as a professional, you're prepared with all the tools that you need. So that is business acumen, customer service, and workman's comp. If you have those, you can behave as a professional. Now, another thing that comes up is the idea that you need to be certified in order to be a professional photographer. If you go to ppa.com, they have a certified professional photographer. And I was looking over it and I'm I see why it's appealing to some people, because the idea is that if you pass this course, they will guarantee that you have the facilities to be a photographer. But what does that really mean? For example, I'm looking at their test specifications, and the breakdown is like this. To be a certified professional photographer, 12% is based on cameras, lenses, and attachments. Can you select the appropriate camera for the subject matter and output requirements? Select the appropriate lens based upon size and distance of the subject matter, as well as desired perspective. And there's little other bullet points underneath that, but so it just seems so mathematical. They're breaking it down. It's like 12% of your test is can you pick a camera and lens? The next section is exposure in meters, 15%. Can you employ a light meter properly to achieve desired exposures? Lighting, 25%. Do you understand the theory of light? Do you have knowledge of the light spectrum, color temperature, and color balance? Can you select the appropriate filter or gel for color correction of light source? Use lighting techniques as composition and design elements. So those are some of the factors in there. Composition and design covers 25%. Knowledge of color harmony, interactions, and effects in order to coordinate subjects with backgrounds and enhance the final image. And then we come down to, can you position subjects with a selected background, special effects, props to achieve the desired result? Pose individuals and multiple subjects to achieve the most flattering results, whether they're feminine or masculine. And finally, 13%, digital post-production. You have a knowledge of color spaces, a knowledge of color space for printing and reproduction. Do you know all the file formats? Your knowledge of PPI versus DPI. And I don't doubt that all of these things are important to know. In the last 10%, image capture and output, can you print? Can you output an image to a desired medium? But to me, you don't have to do all these things in order to be a professional photographer or even a good photographer that's working as an amateur. I know plenty of photographers who will go out and take a wonderful picture, and they will give the output to someone else who specializes in that. They'll send it off to a lab or a shop because they're not going to spend their time, selecting the paper and going through all these little details. That's not to say that it isn't important for some people. There's an art into itself of printing, but not every photographer needs or wants to do that in order to be a photographer. And then they've got a couple of sample questions, or a sample test with a few questions on it. First one I see here is like, red is a combination of which of the following two subtractive light colors? And they go on and on with this, but when I'm out taking photographs, these are not the things that are going through my mind. You kind of, based upon your experience and your education, you learn what to do, when to do it. You're not necessarily thinking, okay, I've got red, or I want red, and I've got cyan and blue, or blue and yellow, or magenta and cyan and magenta and yellow. What am I going to do to make red? Honestly, I'm going to put a red gel on my flash, or I'm going to get a red dress or a red background, and that's where I'm going to get red. I'm not really going to be worried about the color combinations to subtract the colors of light. I get the idea that some people like certifications. They are wonderful for marketing yourself. But I also remember from my experience with IT, there were people with certifications that couldn't do the job. I mean, years ago, NetWare was a really big networking protocol, and everybody wanted to be a certified NetWare engineer. It got to the point where people were called paper CNEs because they could pass the test, but they couldn't do the job. And what's really important is, can you show up and do the job? Can you do the job and make money? Can you do the job and provide customer service? And are you insured so you don't cause any damage? And if you do, you're covered for it. Those are the sort of things that I'm going to look at as a professional photographer. On an amateur side, it's wonderful. You can shoot what you want when you want. And it doesn't mean that you can't go out and earn money from it. I'm lucky enough that I can take some photographs and market them as either prints or use on websites. I had someone contact me in Las Vegas the other day. They want to take one of my photos to put it on hand fans that they're going to sell. And that's one of those things I was trying to think, what am I going to charge for that? So my first question is, well, how many units are you going to produce? Just because you're an amateur doesn't mean that you can't behave like a professional and earn some income from your photographs. The real trick is, are you taking good quality work that other people like? And are you putting it out there in a place where people can find it and then come to you and ask to use your photographs for whatever they have in mind? As far as amateur versus professional, One isn't better than the other. And if you're an amateur and you're thinking you want to go pro because it's going to be a wonderful, delightful thing, make sure you look into it. There's more to it than just photography, showing up on a job, taking pictures every day. You have to run a business. You have to be able to handle your finances. You're going to have clients, and occasionally those clients are going to have complaints. You've got to be able to work with them. And that's really what it is a matter of, if you're going to be a professional, can you behave like a professional and do all those other things that are really outside of photography? All right, let me tell you a little bit more about the Photo Flunky Show. This is our first episode, as you can tell, and we're just starting off to see how things go. Ideally, we're going to be shooting for 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The site, photoflunky.com, will get you straight to our show notes and an audio player, and you'll be able to find all of our episodes there on the audio player. The site is part of WilliamBeem.com. Again, my last name is spelled B as in boy, E-E-M. So please visit there, and we'll be happy to have you come by and take a look at my photography and blog posts and some of the videos I've been putting up there. All right, thank you very much for listening to the Photo Flunky Show. I'm William Beem. If you'd like to keep up with me and get more information on some of the episodes and other things that we're providing, you can do it very easily with a text message. Just text the word flunky, F-L-U-N-K-Y, to the number 33444. That'll get you subscribed, and I'll keep you up to date on my photography and blogging information. You're going to get a welcome message back from WilliamBeem.com. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, things that you'd like to see featured on another show, please let me know. Just go to photoflunky.com and leave a message there. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time listening to me, and hope to see you on the next show.